I hope everyone is well today and enjoying the nice fall weather. This week's video will cover information regarding your midterm examination, the previous week's discussion posting, and this week's discussion posting. Now, before I move forward, I want to say that I appreciate the effort y'all have put forth in completing the discussion questions. Your responses are insightful and demonstrate that each of you are synthesizing new content with previous knowledge. I also appreciate the fact that everyone is willing to learn new information. I realize that we are all at different experience levels when it comes to gifted education. However, there seems to be an open-mindedness that is spread throughout our class about learning this new information. So for that, I thank you. Now, on to the midterm. I have begun to grade your short answer and essay items. Thus far, I am happy with your responses and pleased to see that you were able to express your learned knowledge. I anticipate being completed with all of the grading of this information by next Tuesday evening. At that time, I will post everyone's grades, as I'd like to wait until after I have finished grading everyone's work before posting grades. After I have posted them, please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. The next item for this video is last week's discussion question about creativity. Creativity is a fun topic to discuss because there are so many different ideas as to what constitutes creative thinking. However, I think the authors of this text nicely describe the current theories and offer tangible characteristics of a creative person. There were a couple of common themes that emerged from y'all's responses. First, many did not realize that there were different levels of creativity, and before I began my career in gifted education, I too did not realize that. I always thought that a person was born with creative tendencies, like many of you stated as well. Before learning this, this was an idea that you held. However, after reading this information, many of you had to reevaluate your ideas, and this is something that I had to do as well when I first started learning about gifted education. Another common discussion point was the idea about teaching creativity. The authors made it seem like it was easy. I like what Stacy had to say about it being challenging for those who are not born with it, meaning born with those natural creative tendencies. However, I think as you begin to practice implementing these ideas, you will find it easier to teach. Also, your students will find it engaging. But two final points on this topic. First, pay attention to Deb Hicks' comments about teaching the reasoning behind creative thinking. Students must be able to justify how they arrived at an answer. This is key as it forces them to be critical and creative thinkers. Also, it prevents them from deriving an answer without demonstrating that it is a valid one. Second, please be sure to incorporate content into the teaching of creative thinking. Teaching creativity absent of content prevents our students from being able to solve the true problems that exist in the world today. We have to train our students to see the world as it is and then change it to how it should be. Teaching creativity in conjunction with content makes that possible. Now, to the final aspect of this video. Your discussion question for this week will take you away from reading the text and ask you to begin thinking about a course you would teach in the summer enrichment workshop. When we meet in a couple of weeks, you will begin determining a course to teach next summer. Thus, I want you to think about the following. If you had the freedom to teach one course, what would it be? Think about minors that you had in college, favorite topics, or hobbies that you have. What would you want students to learn? The goal is to consider something about a topic that you already know a great deal about. That's all for this week. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me.